This is exactly what I be talking about when I say I don't really care for the police. So you threatening to take me to jail because I'm disobeying a direct order? That's what you telling me? Listen, officer, with all due respect, I don't want no trouble. I just want to go home to my family, man. I just want to make it home. I don't want no problems, no trouble whatsoever. Not all cops are bad. I done met some very good cops, but you got a lot of them that need a little act right put in. Yeah, so you real tough because you got that badge on. You got that blue on. You understand that I won't be in prison forever, right? Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again. Realkenz TV and the House Like Kitchen Sinks. You know, oftentimes I talk about how I have a, not hatred, but a disdain for police, a disdain for people in authoritative figures or authoritative positions, if you will. I'm going to give you a prime example of what I'm speaking of. Now, I get off my first job earlier this afternoon. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to turn my DoorDash app on and I'm going to go DoorDash for a few hours. Absolutely no problem. I go to a restaurant. I pick the order up. It's for a middle school. Cool. I have no issues. As I arrive at the middle school, it was during the time to where the kids were getting out of school. So the traffic was astronomical. You all know that. Go and, pick your kids up. The active parents, that bother to, pick your kids up from school, whether it's every day or every other week or whatever the case may be. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm speaking of. At the time that the kids are getting out, all the kids that the buses have already gone through, but there's a long line for the car riders. So I say, well, I can't, really stand in this line or sit in this line too long. So I park and I walk. Takes me a couple minutes to get to the school, no problem, 3 or 4 minutes or what have you. Park my car, walk up to the school. I got I actually got 2 big bags of food. I go in, but before I go in, I have to cross the street. As I'm crossing the street is like, okay, from one side of the street to the other side of the street is the actual school. There's a cross guard right there. He's telling me, yeah, come on. There's no cars coming. Yeah, waving me to come on. I cross the street, no problem. I speak to him. Hey, how you doing today? Doing okay? You staying? It's kind of hot out here. You staying cool out here? Oh yeah, no problem. I go into the school. Well, I have to read in the little buzzer or whatever. They ring me in. I go in. I give them the order. Give them the receipt. They sign everything. Still, no problem. I'm speaking to everybody in there. Hey, how you doing, kids? How you? As I'm leaving back out, I go the same route that I took to enter the school. There's no cars coming. There are cars parked, but they're waiting on their kids or the students to come out. So no cars are. The crosswalk it's not even a crosswalk. It's just a place where I can cross the street. So I look, I make sure that, the car is parked or what have you. I wave at the driver. Hey, how you doing? Walking across the street, I got my, my 2 bags with me, my 2 DoorDash bags. The officer's like, hey, you need to go to the other end and walk, across the street. I'm like, what do you mean with the other end? He's like, yeah, you need to go down there and walk across the street. I said, man, I just came in here not even 5 minutes ago when you waved me across. He said, yeah, but this is not the crosswalk. The crosswalk is down there, and you need to turn around and walk back down to the crosswalk. I said, so you really think that I'm halfway across this street, that I'm going to turn around and walk back and walk across the crosswalk when there's no cars here? For one, and for two, you just waved me less than 5 minutes ago. Once again, I'm repeating myself, but I need to paint a picture and reiterate. You just told me that it was cool to come across. Yeah, but you need to, man, I'm not walking nowhere, man. I'm going back to my car. Are you setting a great example for the students? Man, I don't even know students hear me. Ain't no students out here at this point. You see what I'm saying? So he said something, I said something. So I was like, man, I forget exactly what he said. I was like, man, you ain't even no real cop. See, this is the part of me that I must work on because of my disdainness. It's not even a proper word, but because of my disdainness, it's going to be a proper word today for the police and authoritative figures that abuse their authority. Only the ones that abuse their authority. Well, man, you ain't even no real cop, man. You got a flashlight. He was like, yeah, you keep running your mouth, I'm going to show you if I'm a real cop or not. I was like, man, do what you want to do. Do whatever you feel the need to do. You know what I mean? Whatever you feel as though you need to do, you need to stop and wait right there. Because at that point, cars had started to, man, ain't nobody. I kept walking. I continued to walk to my car. As I arrive in my car, I see him walking up the street as though he's actually coming for me. I'm laughing. I'm not even going to lie, I'm laughing. Now, the dude is actually a real cop. I seen that he had a gun. He had a badge. So, the dude wasn't just he was a real cop. So I see him walking up the street as though he's coming for me, but I'm quite a distance from him. I wave at him. I'm antagonizing him. I'm wrong for doing that. I'm definitely wrong. But hey, Realkenz is still a work in progress. You see what I'm saying? I don't get on here to proclaim I'm perfect or anything like that. So I'm waving at him, like, So he ends up turning around and he goes back to his position of, what have you. And I get in the car and I drive off. And nothing actually happened. Good situation for myself. I should have been the bigger person and actually just did what he told me to do, or just continue to walk and not said anything. But the old Kens somewhat came out of me. It's just a thing about the police, man. It's a thing about correction officers that just want to say something to you simply because they can. It's not as though I was breaking any rules. It's not as though, well, I guess technically I was, if it wasn't the actual place to where I was supposed to cross the street, but there was no signs. There's nothing that said that I was breaking the rules. But I guess what I should have done was just continue to walk and, go into the car and get to my next delivery. And that brings me into today's message. Today's video. Because there is a message. There was a message. There's two messages. For one, we know that Realkenz does not particularly care for the police too well. I've had police lie on me. I've had police plant stuff. I've had police get in court, take the stands, hand to the Bible, swear on the oath or whatever they call it, and lie. They lie to you in the interrogation room. They just lie. They lied. Are police necessary? Yes. Are all police bad? No, but a lot of them are. I don't like police. I don't trust them whatsoever. So there's a situation where I was locked up in the county jail on my way to penitentiary. For you all that don't know, if you've never had the pleasure of going through that, and I say that sarcastically, I say that jokingly, because it's actually a great thing if you've never had to deal with the prison system or the jail system, or, your record's cool and all of those great things. I was waiting to, be sent to prison. One morning, it's about, 7 o'clock in the morning, just roughly, and I hear all of this screaming. Everybody sleep. We're in like 12-man pods. A pod is a dorm, a cell. So you got one TV, one toilet, one shower. We didn't have any microwaves. You got a couple steel tables where you can play cards and poker, which you're not supposed to play poker, but you can sit at the steel table, 4-man tables. So, and you got 12 bunks. Actually, you got 6 bunks, 6 2-man bunks. That's an actual pod. So it's about 7:15 in the morning. I hear all of this yelling, and I'm like, who is this girl down there screaming? Like, you just hear, ah. You know how women sometimes get to going through their thing and they screaming at the top of their lungs? That's how it sounded. So I'm like, man, what is this noise? I just knew it was a woman screaming. Come to find out, it was a male correction officer. So one of the inmates jumps up and he's like, hey, man, we trying to sleep, man. You down here doing all this hollering for nothing, man. You need to kill that, man. We up here, we can't even sleep because you down there, you hollering. Now, we're in 12-man pods. There's 4 12-man pods upstairs. So what's that, 48 people? Then there's 4 12-man pods downstairs. So it's 12-man people. 12-man people. So let's rewind that. There's 4 12-man pods. So there's 48 people downstairs. And as I mentioned, 48 people upstairs. That's at full capacity. So it's at 96 people. The guard tower was in the middle of the cell, but it's downstairs. As I mentioned, we were on the upper tier, and you got a lower tier. So, he's telling the correction officer, like, hey, man, you doing too much yelling and screaming, man. All that ain't even necessary, man. You got people in here legitimately trying to sleep. You got people that work third shift, second, because I was in the trustee pod. In the trustee pod, you have to work. You got people trying to sleep or, they got to go to work or whatever the situation is, man. Shut the F up. Yeah, that's how them correction officers get it, man. They ain't, they ain't no better than nobody else. That's how they get talked to. They talk to us crazy. They get talked to crazy too. Shut the F up. If YouTube wasn't really tripping on the cussing, I would say exactly what he said and how he said it, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. So him and the dude, they start going back and forth. They get to yelling, they going back and forth or whatever. Next thing I know, the dude, which was the correction officer, we're going to call him Officer Smitty. Officer Smitty's like, man, say another word and I'm going to come upstairs. So the inmate was like, man, bring your punk ass on up here. Come on up here. You might get tossed off his chair if you come up here. Dude comes up here, he takes his badge off. He takes his walkie-talkie off. Because they walk around with radios. We call them walkie-talkies, but they're really radios. And they keep them right here. For you all that have been incarcerated, and there's a red button. And you push that button, that means help. Immediately. Come help me. Dire straight. We call it the panic button. Yeah, you talk all that stuff. And as soon as something jumps off, you hitting your panic button. Dude takes all that off. He's walking up the stairs. But he got it in his hand. He don't leave it, laying at the guard's tower. He got it in his hand. Yeah, what's up, man? You can get me one-on-one. This is Officer Smitty. You can get me one-on-one. We can fight right now. May the best man win. I ain't gonna call no backup or nothing. Yeah, it's real easy to say that, because guess what? You got these cameras everywhere. Everybody, they see you. The backup's probably on the way anyway. See, let me tell you, man. A lot of these correction officers, and you got some that's cool, as I always speak of. You got some that's cool. They come to work, get their money. They ain't there to bother nobody. They not trying to really break no rules or bring nothing in or anything like that for you, understandably. I wouldn't do it either if I was a correction officer, but I would never be a correction officer. But someone that I knew that was a correction officer, I wouldn't encourage them to bring anything in or do anything illegal. I don't care what amount of money you're being offered. So it's just one of those things to where, the dude was just obnoxious. What was so crazy, I knew him. I just didn't know that was him down there screaming because it legitimately sounded like a woman. I thought that it was a woman correctional officer that was down there. No, it was a dude. So he comes upstairs, they going back and forth or whatever. Nothing really jumps off, but the people come. When the people come, they see that the inmate is arguing with Officer Smitty, and they take him to the hole. He goes to the hole, he gets a write-up, he ends up having to do like 30 days in the hole. Now, Officer Smitty never wrote him up, he never called the backup or whatever, but at the same time, you know that these people are watching you on camera, man. You know that they are. As I was saying, oftentimes, correction officers, they come into jails, they take their anger, their frustrations, whatever problems that they have, they feel as though they can take it out on inmates. It really goes down that way. If you're having a problem with your wife at home or your boyfriend or whatever the case may be, guess what? I'm going to go to jail. If anybody say anything to me today, everybody's getting locked down. I'm taking the TVs, which means they cut the power, so you can't watch TV. And when they cut the power, if you're in a situation where you have microwaves, which at this jail we didn't, but a lot of places do have microwaves, they cutting the microwaves, they cutting the phones. Sometimes they cut your rec. Ain't no rec for 48 hours, so you got to stay in the cell. They cut your visits. All because of what one officer says. There's no proof needed. There's no nothing. If an officer says, you know what, I walked into the dorm, I smell smoke. So I'm going to give everybody 5-10 minutes to bring me the cigarettes and a lighter. And if it doesn't pop up, guess what? Lockdown. 72 hours. Everything gone. Commissary, everything gone. So they give these officers that have to do absolutely nothing to become an officer, a correctional officer. You don't have to go through no major academy. Yeah, you go through something very, very minor. You can have a criminal record as long as you don't have a felony. You ain't really taking no hellified sworn in oath or whatever. So you can have racist people that just don't like blacks, just don't like whites, don't like Mexicans, whatever the case may be. And they can treat the inmates any type of way. That's why them officers, man, they be getting their wig split. Shout out to Big Hurt 916. Them officers be getting their wig split because they think that they can just talk to you and say anything that they want to say and treat you any kind of way. And they'll lock you in a cell. That's cool. That's cool. But what happens when I get out of the cell? I don't advocate violence or suggest violence or anything like that. But I'm just giving you all the real, what really, really goes down in the penitentiary and in jails. Actually, it goes down probably more in jails than it does in the penitentiary, because you're more frustrated being locked up in the county jail. Penitentiary, you can walk the yard, you get contact visits, you can talk to your people more frequently, you can go to classes, there's a whole lot more space. You're not around 10, 15, 20 people all day, every day. So it really goes down in the county jail opposed to the penitentiary. A lot of people think that will be opposite, but it's not. The county jail is the most violent. It's just my opinion. Does it go down in the pen? Absolutely. But a lot of these guys, they jump on here and these YouTubers, man, they're not telling you all the truth. They're making up stories, for content. That's just basically what it is. So I can't come on here every day and tell you about how somebody got raped. Use your imagination. How somebody got shanked 16 times and then I can't get on here and tell you all stories about that, because I've seen certain things, but these type of things don't happen in the penitentiaries that I was in. They didn't happen every single day. And I've been out of the system for many years now. So that's why I was kind of disappointed at myself for, not just continue to just go on and, walk on or whatever. So this officer that I'm speaking of, Officer Smitty, him and the guy, they going back and forth. The dude ends up getting, sent to the hole or whatever. A couple hours later, she's over her feelings. Yeah, I said she. It's a he, but, she. We're going to refer to Officer Smitty as she. She's over her feelings today. So she's in a good mood. She wants to joke and laugh with the other inmates. And see, guys, I don't bother nobody. I come in here, I do my job. I don't make it hard for you all. Pause, double pause. I don't make it difficult for you all. I don't do any of these things to understand that you're locked up and you want to see your family, you're frustrated. And I do everything that I can do within the rules to make sure that everything's good. No. You just talking just to hear yourself talk. Because if we're going to rewind back, we're going to rewind back to a couple hours where you was just talking crazy and calling the inmates bees and all type of punks, and you'll come up there and whoop them. And what about all of that? Knowing that the people on the camera, shift command, that's what they call it, they watching you. What about all of that? You putting people in a predicament to where if they whoop you, if they're going to take a look at you, he wasn't nothing but probably 5'7", 150 pounds, if that. Now, it doesn't mean anything. I've seen some little dudes really, really get down with their hands, but I just don't think that he had that in him. I don't think that Officer Smitty was that guy. Just to be perfectly honest, I don't feel as though he was that guy. Pretty much know that he wasn't that guy. Like I said, I knew him from the streets, but we never really hung out. We didn't really kick it or anything like that. We had some, we had mutual friends. Played a fantasy football league together. They used to go golfing and things of that nature. So I knew of him. I had been around him, but hey, man, you're a correction officer, man. I can't really rock with you like that. So he's one of those type of guys that controversial. He gets into it with everybody. So it's not that he's just going back and forth with the inmates. He's getting into it with the staff, with his co-workers, the other correctional officers, whatever. He ends up getting fired. I don't exactly know what reason that it was. He attempted to sue them, and I don't think that was successful, but he ends up getting fired. So now he's not a correctional officer anymore. I think he ends up getting a job at a factory or something like that at this point. Well, he feels as though everything's all good. He's going to the clubs. He's going to the urban clubs, the black clubs, whatever you want to refer to it as. So the problem with that is the same individuals that he was talking crazy to, the same people that he used to see coming in and out of the county jail, guess what? He's seeing some of these people in the clubs at this point. They encourage you as a correction officer to carry that thing with you. Protection. We're going to call it protection. That's what they encourage. So he had one, but he fell upon hard times and ended up having to sell it. So now he can't carry it with him. And being that he was no longer a correctional officer, when he went into the clubs, the more dangerous clubs, for lack of better terms, he didn't have that certification or whatever showing that, a verification, not certification, but the verification showing that he was a correction officer. So they would no longer allow him to come into the club with it. Well, he didn't have it anyway because he had sold it. But I'm just saying, in the event that he had not sold it, he was not going to be able to enter the club, because he had to show verification, that he was a correction officer. So, he would go in the clubs. I guess he thought everything was all good or whatever. Some people live in their own mind. Some people feel as though, nah, man, I really was cool. I ain't bother nobody. Nobody's going to bother me. He would oftentimes, I'm not going to say often, but from time to time I would go out. And I might call him, hey, what's going on tonight, man? Is the club gonna be okay? Yeah, man, I'm gonna be there at 11 o'clock, man. Okay, all right, that's cool, man. I just see you when I get there. But when I got there, I wasn't really trying to hang with the dude or anything like that, because I always had in my mind something could potentially happen to him, being that who he was. I seen how he was in the county jail. You can tell a pair of lips can and will say any and everything possible. So you would tell everybody else, man, I was a cool CO. I ain't bother nobody. And he's trying to get me to co-sign for him. But man, ask Ken's. Ken's, what not cool? Man, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I can't co-sign for you like that, man. I only seen you a couple times in the units that I was in. I only seen him a few times. And a couple times I seen him going off on people. A couple times I seen him, laid back, wasn't saying anything. But I wouldn't necessarily classify you as a cool officer. You got cool officers that came in there and you see them working and they're going to be there for the next 8 hours. You happy. You jumping up and down. Because it's going to be a laid back situation, laid back type of night. It's not that you're trying to get over or take advantage or anything. It's just like, okay, we don't got no jerk in here. They're going to give us our rec time. They not going to split it up to where you allow 2 dorms at a time to go out. Now, everybody comes out at once, man. We just have fun, do whatever we going to do for the 8 hours, and then, boom, go back to our cell. He wasn't one of them type dudes. He was all right, I guess, for the few times, 3 or 4 times that I seen him. But 2 of the times he was getting into it with people. So I would say the other 2 times he was laid back, wasn't saying much. So no, I can't really co-sign for you. So I never really wanted to go out to the club with him. I might be standing by him, but he smoked. So in the back, they would go out to the back and, smoke their little weed or whatever. I don't smoke. I'm a casual drinker. I sit there, drink my little drink. I'm by myself or whatever. I'm cool. One particular night, he comes up to me. He's like, hey, bro, see dude right there. And he don't point at him, but he's gesturing with his eyes. Yeah, the dude that got on the blue hat and he got on. So I'm looking over and I see him. Yeah, what's up, man? Hey, man, they said something to me in the back, man. So I might need you to, watch my back or whatever. So I'm like, watch your back? I mean, what happened? And they was talking about, man, when they was in the county jail, I had so much to say or whatever. So, what's up now? But shoot, I ain't worried about them, man, because I know I was a cool officer. Man, I ain't got nothing to do with that. In my mind, that's what I'm thinking. So I don't even say anything. We didn't come to the club together. Yeah, I called you to ask you about the club. You told me you was gonna be there. I told you I was gonna possibly be there, but we didn't come to the club together. So, the whole night now, typically when we're in the club, the few times prior, it's like he's walking around, he's hollering the females. He's, Realkenz. I just, the females come to me, man. I don't really got to do too much walking around and, just being honest. But, so he's walking around and he's chasing, he's doing, but now these dudes have seemingly threatened him. So now you want to hang with me as though I'm some tough guy that's going to whoop the whole club. But I'm going to stand up for mine. I'm going to get down for mine if it comes my way, but I ain't looking for no smoke. I ain't looking for no heat. I don't want no drama. I don't got no problems with nobody, man. I done been to a lot of penitentiaries, man, and I ain't, other than regular problems, man, I ain't had no problems with nobody. But because you was a former correction officer, that's not what the issue was. The issue was you was a former correction officer that was overbearing. You was an overbearing SOB at times. So, he's trying to hang with me or whatever. Well, later on in the night, man, the dudes run up on him, man. Yeah, what's up, man? I see him coming. I see the play. I slide away, man. I slide away. They already know I ain't with him. I'm standing there. And I could have got it too. Because just think if they thought that I was actually with him. Now, the thing about me, when I go into the club, I always buy me a Corona. That's the first drink that I buy when I go I buy me 2 drinks when I go in. I'm going to buy me a Corona. I'm going to buy me a LIT. I'm going to drink the Corona first, and I'm going to take that bottle, and I put it in my back pocket at all times. At all times. Now, you may say, well, what's a bottle going to do? Well, I mean, it's going to protect you in the event of something really jumps off, unless they got a gun or something like that. But typically, I don't really have any issues, as I stated before. I see them coming over. I slide to the side or whatever, and next thing you know, bing, bang, bang, boom, 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 bop, bop. You know how like on Batman, y'all ever watch Batman, the people that are a little bit older, and bing, bop, bing, bop, bop. That's basically, man, they took a look at him, man. It was 2 of them initially. Then the other one came in. He got a couple kicks at the end. Dude, like I said, he didn't have his gun anymore. Even if he had his gun, He didn't have verification that he worked at the jail anymore because he got fired because of his attitude and he couldn't get along with anybody. So at that point, it's like, okay, I slid away. And, you know, he got what he got. So later on, he ended up, and I apologize, I'm you know, having to pull off. But, you know, he ended up getting a little upset at me, actually, big upset. Not a lot. He got big upset with me because I didn't help him. Bro, I didn't cause this situation. I didn't put you in this situation. I seen how you act in the county jail. What did you think was going to happen? What did you really think? Because you don't work there anymore, you think that, okay, everybody forgot how you acted? So the basis of this video, the point of this video is when you find yourself in a position of power, when you find yourself in a position of authority, don't take advantage of people simply because you can. Don't get over on people or treat people rudely or bad or whatever just because they're in your house, quote unquote, they're in your house. Because guess what? Especially in the county jail, people do get released from jail. People do get released from prison. You think it's always going to be this way? And you got certain situations where they're going to take a look at you, beat that butt while you're in prison, while you're in the jail, doing your job. But certain times, people don't forget anything. Got elephant memories. They don't forget anything. Yeah. 6-7 years ago, you done seen so many inmates, you don't know, you can't recall and remember every single inmate that you dealt with. But they remember you. So just think about it. You out with your kids and your family and y'all having a good time. You at Walmart or you at the movies, you at the mall, and you know, oh, I'm sorry about that, guys. Wherever you may be. And they see you. And they remember, that's the dude right there. Now what? Now what you gonna do? Come on, man. I'm with my family, man. You didn't care about this dude's family. So guess what? He's not gonna care about you and your family. Take heed to this, man. Correction officers watching this, man, and you a jerk, and you feel as though, you know, can't nobody touch you and you this and you that. Take heed. Take heed. Trust and believe. I see a lot of former correction officers. But I don't, you know, I'm not going to do nothing to anybody. For the most part, I didn't have a lot of trouble with any of them anyway. I'm cool, laid back. Most of the time, they didn't bother me. I've had some. But for the most part, I ain't really have no trouble. And the ones that I did have trouble with, man, I'm free now. And I ain't thinking about none of that stuff that happened in prison or in jail. But you got some people, as I mentioned, got that elephant memory. They not forgetting anything. Now you putting your whole family and loved ones in danger because you wanted to be a jerk when you didn't even have to be a jerk. And they beat the brakes off of Smitty that night. They beat the brakes off of him, man. And he didn't speak to me. It's happened. This was a few years ago. He didn't speak to me for a long time. Not that I cared. Now he's just now starting to kind of come around and speak. Because as I mentioned, we have mutual friends. But I don't care if we ever talk again. Because at the end of the day, man, it's a situation that, why am I going to jump in for? I'm going to jump in and help you? Why? Why would I do that? You shouldn't have been a jerk when you was a correction officer. And you wouldn't even have to worry about that. Realkenz TV. Hopefully you liked the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share. Subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, subscribe. And be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. I apologize, but my camera stand is acting a little crazy today or whatever. So I'm having to manually hold it up. Just the way that I have to manually rewind, man. That's what we, you know, Realkenz TV, sometimes we have to get manual on them. Manual on you all. Realkenz TV, we out.